So this is going to be the first of a couple of videos, mostly for my mom, hi Mom, that really talk about process materials and how a pot comes to be, because a couple of you expressed interest in it and I know my mom did too. So today I just want to talk about the clays that I use. I use 3. So there are thousands of clays in the earth. You probably have some in your backyard if you have a backyard. It's a naturally occurring substance, but because it's a naturally occurring substance, like most things in life, it has multiple permutations and variations. So one of the clays I really love using is porcelain. Porcelain is distinct because it's just pure white. It has no sand or other impurities in it. It's just a particularly pure and simple clay, very hard to find and has become quite expensive actually. First developed or discovered in China, but now produced in various places. England has some porcelain too. The distinguishing quality of porcelain is, feels like silly putty. All these do kind of at this stage. But when you throw it and you add water to it, it's really like working with cream cheese. And so it's a very difficult clay to work with, mostly because since it lacks sand or other structural components in the clay itself, it loves collapsing while you're working on a pot. So a lot of people hate working with porcelain, and clearly there's some people who are just unbelievably skilled. They can throw huge porcelain pots, and they're great. What I love about porcelain is it reacts to glazes differently, and I'll talk more about that later. But you can get some really beautiful bright colors and wonderful blues with porcelain. The other clay I like to work with is a white stoneware. So what's different about white stoneware, it's just slightly more structural, so it's easier to work with. It's got a little sand and very minute particles in it, which make it stand up better as you're throwing. So it's a little easier to throw with. But like porcelain, it'll give you some very bright colors. And it can be very smooth if you deal with the surface in a certain way. That's my chop, my little bird. And you can get some of the same glaze things. It's a very tough clay, so it's great for just serious functional wear. Porcelain is where you get some really lovely colors, but you can see it's just a little bit brighter white and pure in that sense. So I really like these 2 clays a lot. I personally tend to get a little too fussy if I work with porcelain too much. They get too finicky and so I usually have to just kind of calm myself down and get back to some just rougher, more organic work. And so for that, I tend to use earthenware, or not earthenware, sorry, I misspoke, stoneware. So this is a more brown stoneware. Like the white stoneware, it has some sand and other materials in it that give it more structure. This has probably even more structure than the white stoneware. They're very different clays. This one, you know, when I'm changing clays, it's kind of a mess if you're going from this to porcelain. So I like to throw a bunch of pots in one particular clay as a kind of sequence, and then I'll shift. So anyway, that's how I do it. But the stoneware, I don't know if you can see it in this light. It does have certain, I don't know, iPhone, help me out here. You can see some sandy particles. And sometimes some clays have the addition of grog, which is crushed bisquing. I'll talk about bisquing later. Anyway, so that's the intro. I buy my clay from Laguna. Comes in 50-pound boxes and 2 25-pound bags. So it's my personal gem. All right, thanks for joining. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.